Greetings and welcome. I'm Dr. Nielsen, founder of Nielsen Holistic. Today it's our pleasure to have our Trending Now correspondent, Christian Rodier. And Christian, we wanted to talk, right before we just started this, he's just been telling me some of the interesting topics that are going on out in the public eye. And some of you have probably seen some of those and would like to address one in particular today, and that is immunizations. It's a very hot topic. It's one of our, in the office at Nielsen Holistic, we call that a controversial topic. It's what we label as a C topic, where, it's pretty controversial. Whenever you mention immunization, a lot of moms get, the word is freaked out, both ways, And tell me a little bit about what's going on in California.
Definitely. Thank you very much for having me, Brandon. I'm excited to be here. Well, as you know, last December there was a scare in California. In Disneyland, over 100 people were infected with measles. So as a result...
I remember that.
Yeah.
We were there.
You were there? Wow.
We were there.
Hopefully your kids didn't get sick.
No, not at all.
You're fine.
Yeah, we're good. We're taken care of.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen, but some of the guests were sickened, and as a result, Governor Jerry Brown recently signed a new immunization law into effect. Now, what it does is it requires all school children and all children attending daycare to get immunizations. Now, the only way they can get an exemption is if a doctor gives them a note for a health concern, a serious health concern.
Yeah, because I used to live in California, and so I remember people used to exempt themselves from like religious purposes.
Yes.
Or is that still available, or?
No, not anymore. If you're concerned for religious reasons, or for any other reason, for example, for parental rights, or if you're one of those people who is a little bit concerned about if immunizations are healthy or not, you do not get an exemption. Only if a doctor writes your child a note, and that means if you do not get that, if you decide not to inoculate your child will have to go to they can't even go to private school either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have to be homeschooled, and they have to forego daycare.
Wow. And so do you know if these vaccines are green? Do you know if they've eliminated all the mercury out of them, or have they mandated that, or was there anything in that bill that passed that, or nothing?
Well, I read the bill myself, and it does not address that issue. As you know, there are some trace amounts of mercury, which is poisonous. For example, coal power plants are not allowed to pump mercury into the air.
Right, they have to have filters.
Absolutely.
Special filters, absolutely, because mercury is like 1,000 times more toxic than lead, and we think of lead as super toxic, but mercury is so toxic. So the coal factories, right?
Can't do it, no. And unfortunately, the law does not address the issue. Now, I'm not saying that immunizations are unhealthy. I think they're great. I was immunized. I plan to immunize my children when I have them. But we have to do something to address this issue, because there is a slight chance that small children can be hurt by mercury. And this has not been addressed.
Yeah, and that is unfortunate. What's another interesting topic about mercury? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. he wrote a book on this, but not only is the mercury, and I know it's used as a preservative in the vaccines, but also they use trace amounts of aluminum, which is, I've seen, and somebody can probably prove me wrong, because science is always changing, but mercury with aluminum as well is acts as a catalyst, where it even makes the mercury even more detrimental, especially in the young male population with testosterone dominance, which is very interesting. So mandated mercury vaccinations in California.
You mentioned something interesting. I mean, the whole purpose of inoculation is to give a child a harmless version of a pathogen so that they'll develop antibodies. But science is developing to a point where pretty soon you can just skip step A, go right to B, and then give them those antibodies, and hopefully we can forego all those chemicals that you're mentioning.
That's interesting, yeah. So what you do is you'd actually, then what he's talking about is skipping the inoculation, or the attenuated or a dumbed down version of the virus in this case, or viruses, and then you just go to the straight antibodies, where you build up, kind of like what they did in Ebola,
Yeah.
where they didn't have a vaccination. Instead, they just gave the antibodies
Mhm.
directly to the person, which is an interesting, a whole new field
Yeah.
of science, and I believe it's quite promising. But I really appreciate, oh, one other thing before we close,
Yeah.
well, maybe we should save it for next time, but hepatitis B.
Yeah.
Interesting vaccination.
They do have to get, children also have to get vaccinated for that, which is
Is
kind
it-
of
is it
strange.
part of
Yes,
it?
it is part of it. It's right there in the bill.
Sorry, I'm not trying to laugh, but it's kind of silly because
You have to associate it with people who are drug addicts, prisoners, and people who practice prostitution. So it's a bit extensive, but
Yeah.
like my point is, let's make vaccination safer and let's do it smarter. And hopefully, with what you're mentioning, doing with the antibodies, we'll get to that.
interesting. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on today.
My pleasure.
And we'll look forward to the next training topic
Yeah.
next time. So until next time, I'm Dr. Nielsen with our Training Now correspondent Christian Rodier. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.